Welcome to the Ales and Fails stream. I'm your host, Alewolf, otherwise known as Ales, gentleman streamer, Beer Goggles 21, the excellence of an execution. And welcome, in I go. Good to see you. How are you doing this fine evening? So today, it is Wednesday. It is a new day of, I want to say the first day of the streaming week. So this is when the week really begins. Here's hoping that you've had a mellifluous set of days so far. I finally finished my work week, so I'm pretty happy with things. Of course, as usual, we'll be engaging with some Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which is a game that we started last week in what I like to call the Retro Ratskeller. With me, of course, is young boy Churro over here, who is just a bit sleepy. He's a bit EP. So, don't mind him unless you want me to feed him a treat. Then you can certainly do so via my channel points. So yeah, that's what we will be doing tonight, of course. Let's go ahead and talk about what exactly is on tap today, because that is one of the things that is guaranteed from the Ales and Fails stream, of course. Fails as well as ales. And today we got something a little bit, certainly something that we haven't had before. I know we've had this style before, but we actually haven't had this one before. Let's go ahead and switch over to the ales cam for just a minute. Okay. And as you can see over here, we've got Best Day Brewing's Kolsch Style Ale. And of course, it is a dry Wednesday. This is a non-alcoholic beer. What exactly is a Kolsch Style, you might be wondering? Well, before that, let's go ahead and just admire the can artwork over here. You've got some sunshine. You've got, I want to say maybe like an olive green set against like a salmon pastel, a pastel salmon. That's a little more difficult to say than you can imagine. So a pastel salmon and a very simple can designs. Maybe it's simply because of the types of beers that I've come across with, but I do feel like non-alcoholic beers tend to be a little less flashy, a little less gaudy when it comes to can artwork, as opposed to some of the other craft beers that I like to review in this stream. What exactly is a Kolsch, you might be wondering to yourself. Well, a Kolsch is a type of beer that is kind of a hybrid. Things in the beer realm tend to be either an ale or a lager. And so a lager is different than an ale in the sense that it is cold fermenting, and it specifically uses lager yeast. Lager yeast ferments to the bottom, which means that, where was I? So it's to the bottom, which means that it ferments from the bottom. At the end of your fermentation process, you got a very clean, crisp beer at the top. An ale, on the other hand, which is what I generally like to drink, is top fermenting, which means that the yeast will actually grow at the top of the tank, and you get a slightly heartier, more robust beverage, I like to think. The other difference is, of course, that lagers tend to be cold fermenting, kind of like refrigeration temperature, versus an ale, which happens to be a little just cool, a little bit like as cool as a basement, perhaps, you might want to say. So yeah, those are the two main beer styles. A Kolsch is a hybrid style that was developed in Cologne, Germany, and what makes it special is the fact that it starts out with an ale yeast. You start out with malts from the region of Cologne using ale yeast, and then what you do is you cold ferment it. And so you get this robust flavor from the ale yeast. You get some of those fruity esters that are iconic of the European region, but then at the same time you end up with a very slim body, very thin body, very crisp, which is what's iconic of a lager. So it's very drinkable and full of flavor. It is delicious. It is the iconic beer of the region of Cologne, Germany. But that's enough about me gabbing in terms of like what a Kolsch is. Let's go ahead and see what Untapped has to say on this particular beer by going over to this side. Let's turn off the ales cam for a second, and voila. So only 0.5% alcohol by volume, so 0.5 of anything means that you do not have alcohol in it. Virtually zero. Virtually zero. The complement to the hazy had to be easy drinking, approachable, and low calorie, yet full of flavor and authenticity. We used a combination of Cologne and Pilsner malts and Hellertau traditional hops to create a refreshingly complex Kolsch-style ale. Its sturdy caramel malt flavor is perfectly balanced with the citrusy hops, leaving a bright and crisp finish. The quintessential embodiment of all day, every day. And that is kind of a beautiful idea right there. It's simply this notion that you can drink this all day. Because again, Kolsch beers tend to be relatively light and low in alcohol. Let's go ahead and enjoy this beer, shall we? And go ahead and go back to the ale scam for a second. Yeah, so here's hoping that you're having a wonderful day today. Sorry that I was just a bit late today in terms of actually starting and giving it a go. Open this up. Okay, and there we go. Oh, and I guess I forgot to read what the back of the can says. Brewed for doers, surfers, climbers, early risers, free divers, chefs, gardeners, dancers, oyster farmers, dreamers, painters, builders, mothers, farmers, runners, hikers, walkers, makers, ranchers, nurses, woodworkers, teachers, skiers, bikers, doctors, hot air ballooners, entrepreneurs, clowns, bakers, street huggers, people huggers, photographers, pit masters, neighbors, snowshoers, fishermen, fish women, foragers, fans, musicians, poets, and lifeguards. I think that's every profession known to man, except maybe spelunker. But that was a mouthful. That was absolutely a mouthful. We're pouring in our beautiful Hefeweizen glass, of course. Leave the can right there for identification. Before I actually drink this beer, let me have a sip of water. Okay, and a proper tasting here. It's a very fruity nose. It's got a little bit of hops on the nose as well, a little bit of pine resin, which is generally what I identify hops as, but definitely some malt, some caramelized malts as well. I'm an ale, dear viewer. Thank you very much for being here. So very malty, surprisingly maltier than what I would expect a Kolsch to be. Very robust in flavor. Definitely got some of those fruit flavors, and what I generally identify when I drink the Kolsch is like pear, and that is kind of what I'm saying is like a bready pear sort of flavor. Good bite, a 3 out of 5 out of body composition. So this is definitely thicker than what I would expect a Kolsch to be, but very, very much full of flavor. I very much enjoy this. Clearly the pine notes that I was detecting were not an alert to bitterness. This is not a very bitter beer. It's actually quite light drinking, very refreshing, very quenchable, as they say. Yeah, so this is actually quite delicious. This is probably one of my favorites from Best Day Brewing. Let's go ahead and give this a rating. And we are going to say a 3.25 out of 5 for Best Day Brewing's Kolsch. And yeah, that's what we will be drinking for the rest of the evening. Like I said, we are playing The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, and this is the Game Boy Advance version. So here's hoping that this is your type of game. Let me turn off the ale scan for a second. Let's go back to regular edition, and let's get started. We do have a question of the night. I would like to know, I dare to ask you, what made you happy today? I'm gonna go ahead and pin that on the chat. Feel free to answer it. It's a nice icebreaker, I think. If I were to answer that question first, today I went to work and I delivered a, what I like to think, kind of just like a heartening, what do you call it? It's kind of like almost like an inspirational speech to a group of folks. I presented for about an hour and I kind of just left them with a positive message. and just the fact that it seemed to work and people walked away happy made me smile. So that's kind of my idea. I don't know. Feel free to let me know what made you happy today. I would certainly love to know. And welcome. I gotta tell you, I've always wondered how to properly say your name, and in my mind, I've thought it's the Kitty Toe Beans. Now, if that is not, please let me know. And of course, the Kitty Toe Beans is a colleague, a fellow member of the Fruities, which I recently joined. And I feel like we've been interacting on the social medias recently. I know that somebody, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, dropped me off in your stream as a raid, and you were playing Xenogears, if I want to say. Oh, so it is correct. Excellent. Thank you so much, and very much appreciate the fact that you're here. Let me go ahead and simply say that while I might not have had enough time visiting your stream, I do want to say, anyone who is watching this right now, past, present, or future, kindly give the Kitty Toe Beans a follow. At the very least, I know that they are a fellow Fruity and love to play Xenogears. And you know what? If that is not a winning combination already, I don't know what is. Let's see, you can go by the Kitty for short if you'd like. The Kitty is good. Here's hoping that you enjoy The Legend of Zelda, but certainly feel free to let me know if it's not your cup of tea. Let's go live with A Link to the Past. Thank you for the shouty. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It is, as they say, the biggest, most important currency that you can give anyone, exchange currency with, is your time. And let me lower the volume of just a bit on that. I would love to know how far you've gotten into Xenogears, by the way, if you'd care to share. No pressure, of course. I don't want to drag anybody into a conversation. I will say, though, that I am way overdue in terms of playing Xenogears once again. I finished it a very, very long time ago. I want to say maybe during my college days. And then I enjoyed it to sweet goodness. It reminded me a lot of the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, but I'm sure I'm not the first person that's ever said that. No worries, I'm just here vibing. Please enjoy your vibe. I'm about a third through, roughly. Gotcha. Well, you know what, I don't actually know if it's like your first playthrough or anything, so I'm not gonna ask for specific plot points. But yeah, that game is definitely left its mark on me, not just because of its story, but it was one of the first few action RPGs that I played where you actually had to input like combat attacks, and it reminded me a lot of like the only other thing that I had played very similarly is like something as silly as like Super Mario RPG that had like timed commands and things like that. Definitely not as involved as Xenogears. But yeah, I should definitely play that again. And I should probably also just finish the Xenosaga trilogy someday. Let's see. Oh, spoilers are fine. Good to know. Just trying to be safe on that. I played it as a kid. Gotcha. So you're revisiting it with adult eyes, as they say. Okay, I, for the life of me, don't quite recall what I was doing last time I played. I remember that I was, I had to look for, what's his name? Oh, yeah, right, the name of the stream, Sahasrahla-la-la-la-la-la. The sage who's supposed to, like, know something about the princess or the 7 maidens or something like that. So that's where we're at right now. Let's see, today wasn't a happy day for me, but what cheered me up was this wacky Instagram dude and some happy persona music. You know, it's the small things that sometimes cheer us up. I can say that. Something as simple as somebody saying a silly joke, or something that just breaks us off that mood of just like not having the greatest of days. It can have the biggest of effects. Persona music is always a win, and I'm going to go ahead and admit please feel free to condemn me, but the only Persona that I've ever played is the first Persona on the PSP, which is something that I aim to correct someday, but I am in no rush. Someday though, someday. Oh my gosh, these guys and their hit collision are just terrible. We are playing, of course, on the Switch Pro controller, which, as you might or might not know, does not have the greatest of control paths. It does not. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Let's see, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. My first completed Persona was P3 Reloaded. Gotcha. No, but, you know, I know that everyone kind of says if you are going to get into Persona now, you might as well just start with the third one and go 4 and 5. There's no need to go to the past. And I don't think like 2 or the second to 2 is accessible either. So maybe that would be the one that I had to go play next. Persona 3. I have no idea on what system I would do that though. Probably the reloaded version makes the most sense. Okay, we're just gonna go south and to the east. South and to the east. See, allegedly, 1 and 2 are being worked on a modern-day release. Not sure how true it is, but I'm holding on to hope. You know, it would be very interesting to see what they do with the first one, because it was... I want to say I played that one... at this point, maybe like 5 years ago. Because I remember that because I had recently started the current job in which I find myself. And while it had its charm, it was very much a creature of the late 90s, late 2000s in terms of just random battles and mazes and a lot of grinding. I gotta say, a lot of grinding. It definitely, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it would take a fair overhaul for me to play it again. Hello, Spectrum. Good to see you. How are you doing this fine Wednesday evening? Baby Thursday, as they say. I hope you're well, and that your day has treated you kindly. We were just talking about Persona. By the way, I think I popped into your stream the other day, and you were actually playing that Thymesia game. I don't actually know if that's how it's pronounced, but it seemed to me like a Souls-like. Unfortunately, I wasn't necessarily paying the greatest attention to it, but it seemed like a fun game. And of course, how could I let this opportunity, golden opportunity, pass us by and not suggest for everyone watching out there to give Spectrum Branch a follow. Not only are they an excellent streamer, a streamer of great renown, but they are also an excellent musician. Kindly give them a follow. Thank you so much for being here, Spectrum. I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. Today was my last day at work, and I feel like I accomplished a few things. I was definitely drained by the end of it, but I'm kind of just looking forward to the weekend. And I only say that half-heartedly because I know that tomorrow I gotta focus on finishing my taxes. So, you win some, you lose some, but overall okay. Thank you for asking. I beat Thymesia. Wow, I wonder how long that game took. Of course, Spectrum just beating games left and right. Look at that. Admirable. Let's see. Cliche, but stream tonight made me happy. I love hanging out with everyone. It really just helps me escape my crazy, stressful life. And you know, I think that that's a pattern that I see with a lot of the... I want to say maybe a fair number of folks that I follow. They do this because it stimulates them in some way that, you know, maybe in a way kind of compensates with the difficulties of life, right? And yeah, I know that a lot of folks do this because it is, you know, it is their profession, and all power to them. Very admirable. I feel like they operate slightly differently, though a little more professionally even. But folks that just do this in terms of like a passion sort of thing, it's, I don't know. I feel like it has its own charm as well. And yeah, I definitely stream to kind of just unwind. Probably one reason why my shtick here on stream is to not only play games but also just enjoy an ale. And just if anybody's wondering, today we are enjoying a non-alcoholic Kolsch from Best Day Brewing. Quite delicious. And where was I? Thank you. You're most welcome, Spectrum. Not too long, maybe 12 hours-ish. Gotcha. That doesn't seem like a very long commitment. Oh, this entire time I forgot that I had a boomerang. But that is how things go. You know, we just circled back to Link's house. I actually didn't progress anything. I thought I was going somewhere. Let's go south. Or right, I guess. Ah, those things are so fast. And the witch's house. Mayhaps the witch from Hansel and Gretel. You know, I was reading Hansel and Gretel the other day, or at least a rendition of it. And one thing that I guess I forgot since I was a kid was just this idea that Hansel and Gretel's parents just decided to leave them in the woods before they got into their shenanigans. I was like, wow, that seems a bit, well, I mean, heartless, absolutely, but you know, it's not something that's necessarily focused on whenever folks talk about that story. Let's see. Yeah, I'm all about beating games so I can get through my backlog. Nice. I like your vibes here too. It's nice. I appreciate that, Spectrum. That's very kind of you to suggest. I know that you could be spending your time with any other excellent streamer out there with slightly better skills here. So at the very least, I am always overjoyed that you decide to pop in and chat about things, about this and that. I'll make it cheap. Let's ask him to tell it. Boom, 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 boom. Right back at you, Spectrum. Now I will take 20 rupees. I hope you will be healthy. Yee-ha-ha. Well, that is a highway theft right there. I don't know. I'm sure that there's outcomes where you get something back out of that transaction. I'm starting to feel like my Streamlabs is just crowding chat. I probably should turn off some of those timers. I think I got timer happy the other day. By the way, Spectrum, one thing that I did is I went to the settings before starting the game and I put the color palette to slightly darker. I don't know if that makes it any closer to the Super Nintendo version, but if anybody was going to catch that, it might probably be you. Oh, my rupee. Okay, there's a cave here. It's a little closer. Yeah, and I imagine that, you know, it's never going to be perfect no matter what I do. May I help you? Select the thing you like. Press the R button. Prices are marked. And we can either buy the potion. I don't think we need to buy the potion just yet. And we have enough bombs for our purposes. Speaking of porpoises, I think I learned this relatively recently, but apparently there's freshwater dolphins, and yeah, they're a little bit different than regular dolphins. They're a little more crocodilian. So yeah, that was something. My kingdom for a bigger sword. Okay, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Now, if I recall correctly, somebody must have pointed our oh, there's Sahasrahla-la-la-la-la. Sahasrahla. Shangri-La. Okay. Okay. Ailes, I was in a social influencer stream and I asked her a personal question and she answered that her and her boyfriend lived together because I asked her if I spend more time together or conveniently, and I guess I'm comparing myself because the situation with me and my girlfriend, we spend a lot of quality time together, but I started to think because things are a bit rocky with me and my girlfriend right now, if things would be more substantial if we were both chasing the bag online and then just kind of spent some time, because I guess we're a label or a thing. But I started envisioning myself in that position with somebody, and after experiencing both, I guess money does make things feel a whole lot better. But I feel like I really wouldn't get the juice of someone being super genuine with me. But then again, I still feel like my current girl, it lacks on being genuine. So there isn't a right or wrong way of doing a relationship. But I must admit that I feel like I'd rather be not financially stable together with a woman because I think she, right? Uh, I, I'm not totally understanding the message there. Are you suggesting that she's not genuine because of money? I guess I'm not following. So, would you kindly mind just being a little more concise with your messages? I'm trying to simply just trying to keep up here. All right. Yeah, you got it. Okay. I don't know the context. So I can't make a good opinion here. In I go. So I would rather not, not have this discussion. All right, so let's cut some grass here. Ride's harder like the whole ride or die expression. Yeah, I understand. Thank you for sharing. Again, I'm sorry I can't make a good educated. I can't adopt a position on that. I don't know the context. Alright, so we're gonna go down this way. And here's hoping that I can actually get to the eastern area. Okay, and we definitely can't go down this way because we don't have the flippers. We don't have the power of swimming just yet. Oh, I think we totally overshot that. Okay. And voila. Okay, and I think we're on the right route here. The real challenge is actually going to be able to make it to the wise man before meeting our fate. Okay, and I think these fellas take quite the number. Oh, actually, not that bad. I thought that they were the sort that take just like a million hits to defeat. Well, certainly a good chunk of attacks, anyways. Okay, is this a bombable wall? Can this reveal the secret? No, probably not really. Okay. And we're entering. Oh, this also just seems like a place where you could place a bomb. But at the same time, I feel like in A Link to the Past, they generally give you cracks in the wall in order for you to actually determine where to make those bomb escapes. Let's see. So, do you work with ales, beers, etc. professionally, or is it something that you enjoy personally? So I can tell you that I've been an amateur brewer in previous years. And by amateur, I mean that I want to say that I maybe like made, back in the day, about 10 different preparations, and I made them along with my partner. We do have like some very basic equipment for beer brewing, and then we've also got like this nice kegerator. Nothing fancy. We only ever followed recipes, so we didn't actually like prepare or like come up with anything ourselves. But it was a lot of fun. I haven't done that for years, like I said. And yeah, I've never actually sold any of it or anything to that effect. I feel like I mostly just, enjoy beers and like trying to think of the ways that the flavors and like how they're made and things like that. Like I'm trying to become more of a person that samples something and knows what they're tasting, sort of thing, as opposed to like becoming rich off of it or anything like that. That's the level of quote unquote mastery, expertise. Let's call it hobbyism. Hobbyism is good. Yeah. So that's kind of my thing. Do you like the cheesy puffs ales from Cheetos? I do prefer cheesy puffs over cheese doodles. What an odd question though. Have you got a preference, Inigo? Legit? Yes. Here's a question actually, the kitty. Do you enjoy ales at all? Are you a beer drinker, beer enthusiast, beer enjoyer? Gosh, I am going nowhere to the right location here. Let's go this way. Oh no. I am being warned that I am in danger, Will Robinson. Get that money. I am not. Nothing against it, but I could never get past the hops. You know what? And I feel like that's a very fair position to have. You can't have most beer flavors without some level of bitterness, right? And I want to say that for the longest time, I could not drink pale ales, let alone India pale ales, which are the hoppiest of the hoppiest beers. Because I do feel at the very least that certain American breweries definitely just overused them, and it was just unflavorful. But I was able to find my sea legs, let's say, when my partner introduced me to like wheat beers, which are a lot just rich and a lot sweeter. Things like ciders, of course, and just things that are either heavier in color, like stouts and things like that, which definitely focus less on the hoppiness of beers. And to this day, I feel like I'm still like this. Like I'll tolerate a pale ale, but it's not something that I always like go for or anything. But I would love to know what you like to drink, otherwise, alcoholic or otherwise. Just eating them right now. Been a while. Gotcha. Well, enjoy those cheese puffs, Inigo. I am indeed Sahasrahla, the village elder and a descendant of the 7 sages. Oh really? I'm surprised that one so young is searching for the sword of evil's bane. Ales, not just anyone can use that blade. Legends say only the hero who has won the 3 pendants can wield the sword. Do you truly wish to find it? I find... What kind of an answer is this? Yeah. Of course. Good. For your first test, can you retrieve the pendant of courage from the East Palace? If you bring it here, I shall share more of my knowledge with you. Now, onward to the palace. All right, let's do it. Thank you very much for the toasty winter. Good to see you. How are you doing this fine day? Thank you so much for stopping by. Here's hoping that you had an excellent Wednesday. And of course, Winter is also a fellow member of the Fruities. I was actually just hanging out on his stream yesterday while he was playing Monster Hunter Wild. Sorry that I'm kind of just being a little bit slow here on the pickup, but I am not finding the right buttons on my stream deck because I'm terrible that way. Ah, voila! And so, anyone watching out there, kindly give our new friend, Winter Soul, a follow. They were last playing Monster Hunter Wilds. By the way, I guess, I was only half paying attention, but what hunter rank are you at right now? I'd certainly love to know. It seemed like you and your friends were very far advanced in the game, if not having already beaten the main quest, but I don't have a keen eye for that just yet. I am still a baby rank, hunter rank 3, so I'm not very far in. Yeah, my Wednesday was solid, just hopped off Monster Hunter, hit HR 30 today. Wow, excellent. Well, congratulations to you. That is solid. That is solid. I gotta get away from these statues. I apologize for all the beeping that everyone is listening to right now. I will get a heart soon enough. A jar of hearts, as they say. Well, it seems like you don't have to use the spinning blade for this thing. And sorry, I missed your earlier messages, the kitty. I rarely drink anymore. Kinda outdid myself in college, lol. But if I drink, it's usually a seltzer or any fruity mixed drink. Hey, I love fruity mixed drinks. I don't drink them as often as I do a good ale, but I certainly appreciate them. Ay, 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 ay. And just oh goodness. There I go. There I go. Now is a good time for some refreshment, and we are enjoying some non-alcoholic Kolsch from Best Day Brewing. To your health, as I like to say. Thank you for the shout out. You're absolutely welcome, Winter Soul. Thank you so much for popping in. Very much appreciate the visit. Definitely take your time. Yeah, I was talking to one of my coworkers who also plays Monster Hunter, and she was telling me about the fact that she just went back into Final Fantasy XIV, even though she was very excited to play Wilds when it came out. And I was like, hey, don't worry about it. We've got all the time in the world up until the moment that they release the expansion. Then we gotta, get to it. So, yeah, everyone can just take their time with Wilds. I feel like people are gonna be playing it for a good long time. This is one of my favorite all-time Zeldas. Yeah, people really like this one. I haven't played it in quite some time, I want to say, and I've never played the Game Boy Advance version, which this is it. I've never played this one, so I wanted to maybe go and see how different it was from the original. Funny story, well, not really funny, but sad anecdote. I actually owned this game for the Game Boy Advance. I've just never played it. I kind of just moved on to the DS and never looked back. Very sad state of affair, folks. Old Ales has a humongous backlog. And no time to actually work through it. Is this the palace? This gotta be the palace, right? Nice. So this is the East Palace, yes. No. Let's see. I have a science question. Ales Ghoul not being clear to me. Okay. Feel free to fire. Just a second, folks. Apologies for that. Just went on a bit of a cough right there. Old ales unfortunately doesn't have the greatest of rather I have a bit of a sensitive throat, and that is certainly not the way to go. You're right, it has the young Link voice. This is the version of the game I beat as a kid. Nice. Yeah, so that's actually something that caught me off guard when I started playing this game. Just the fact that it had a voice, and I was just like, I could take it or leave it. But I feel like by this point it's grown on me. I don't necessarily find it problematic. I feel like I kind of just gotten used to it, just like I did for Ocarina of Time. Pale ale. So actually, this is a Kolsch. And I don't know how familiar you are with this particular style, but let me simply just say that it goes somewhere between. Whoa! Thank you so much for the raid, Ghost. I appreciate that. Let me go to intermission for just a quick second here, folks. Well, welcome raiders. Thank you so much for popping in. How is it going, Ghost? Good to see you. And we've got Soul Retriever DZ here. Raid, we're here. We're shy, but we want to say hi. That is one of the best raid messages I've seen. Fruity Sluff. Hey, Magashi Sama. Thank you so much for popping in. Very much appreciate that. Fruity Love, of course, Ghost is here as well. And yeah, definitely welcome raiders. So just a little quick note on myself. My name is Ales, Ales or Aelwolf. Most people just call me Ales. I've got a corgi that you can probably see on that little corner cam right over there. Let me actually go ahead and raise this. Yeah, so he's right over there. If I could, I would probably call to him, but he's probably just enjoying his nap right there. His name is Churro. He's a corgi of 6 years old, and actually 7 years old at this point. And I am a retro/variety streamer. I like to play retro games. I like to play variety games. But importantly, I like to talk about ales. And today we are enjoying a delicious Kolsch style beer, non-alcoholic, quite becoming. We kind of talk about one ale per session, one or two, depending on the day. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for popping in, everyone. You beat Alone in the Dark? Wow, well, congratulations, Ghost. That's impressive. You know, that's actually a game that I've never played myself. Mostly because I tend to be a little hesitant whenever it comes to horror games or games that at the very least just make you feel suspenseful. I feel like I need to have like an audience, like people with me in order to play them, or I need to watch people play them. But yeah, before I forget, two things here, two very important things. Kindly give our streamer colleague Ghostline a follow. Everyone who is watching right now, as she just said, she was just playing Alone in the Dark and beat it. But yeah, also leader of the Fruities, of which I am a part of. So thank you so much for bringing in your community. Second most important thing, if anybody needs to raid and fade, I completely understand. Streaming and watching viewing can be very tough on the body, so I highly recommend that anybody who needs a break, who needs to step away from the screen, please kindly do so. I don't want to hold anybody hostage. I don't want to get in trouble with the authorities. So please enjoy some self-care if you need it, but you're certainly more than welcome to stay here. Okay, but yes, we are playing A Link to the Past today. Let's see. I heard their name. Oh yeah, they definitely did. Churro definitely loved. There he goes. Yeah, he is aware of things. I think chat likes to hear me scream at things. I'm terrible at horror. You know what? There's a certain art to good screaming on stream, I feel. So I feel like you may have mastered it. But yeah, once again, congratulations on the win, Ghost. That's impressive. I'll have to catch at the very least part of that VOD. Can confirm Ghost has adorable screams. I do not doubt it for a second. I do not doubt it for a second. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for popping in. I've actually only recently started this game. And this is actually my first palace, the East Palace. My first time playing through the Game Boy Advance version of the game, but I played A Link to the Past a long time ago when I was a kid. A little known fact, I was a kid once long ago. That did actually happen. Why can't I open this thing? Is there like a different... Oh, grabbing jars. There you go. I forgot that you could actually just grab things without the power glove. That's not... Oh. Of course. Let's see. Thought so. The GVA port is interesting. I'm assuming it is not your favorite. I was just saying that while I appreciate the fact that Link has the child Link voice, at the first instance of me hearing it, it was definitely unsettling. Now I think it's okay. And as our friend Spectrum was suggesting, we've also got a lighter color palette here than the original because of course it was in the Game Boy Advance. And of course, if you didn't have a light back then, you only relied on sunlight and bright colors. Ouch. This is worse than me trying to dodge a ball in Elden Ring. Just recognize the pattern, clear your mind of whimsy, and I still get the hit. Yeah, let's see. It's pretty faithful for the most part. Yeah, and you know, when I decided to start streaming this, I actually looked up on Google what are the main differences of this game. And I didn't find like too many things. I definitely no like extra content other than like, for instance, the Four Swords game, which of course if it's its own thing. Okay, we finally didn't perish. Thank goodness for that. But there seems to be more area over here. So you have an answer for my question earlier. Let me take a look back. I might have actually missed what you wrote. Let's see. How long after does someone officially become pregnant? It says after 14 days of ovulation. It says after 14 days of ovulation, 4 to 6 to reach to anything. I guess where it starts, right? I'm still confused. I don't... When does some... I mean, I feel like you got your answer right there. Why? Also, can we just... can we cool off on the odd topics? Did I go? Thank you. So it's that. I would assume that if that's the answer that you read offline, yes, that is accurate. Alright. So let's go ahead and try and dodge this thing. I am sorry to hear that, in I go. Let's just, as I've often said to you, let's please keep cool in chat. Gosh darn it, these nuts are making me thirsty, as they say. Let's save and continue. Let's see. Is this your first Zelda game? No, actually, I played A Link to the Past. I played the original Nintendo Zelda. I played Link's Awakening, which is probably one of my favorite 2D Zeldas. I at least played Oracle of Ages. Definitely never finished Seasons. And then Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I started Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately, I never finished it. I think that's probably a good rundown of how far I've gotten in terms of Zelda. Um, yeah, and I would love to say that this is a good representation uh, of how well I do, but it is probably a pretty bad representation of how. Are you a fan of the Zelda series as a whole, Magashima? Uh, my bad. Yeah, just let's read the room, as they say. Okay, gotcha. Pretty solid. Yeah, unfortunately, there was a point where I was going to just continue with the classic Zelda lines and kind of just go with. I think the next one for me was supposed to be the Wind Waker, um, and for one reason or another, I never got to it. I do own it, but jeez, the giant ball just keeps throwing me off here. Let's see, I played and beat them all. With the exception of the second Zelda CDI game. Can't emulate it at all, not paying a small fortune for a copy and CDI. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed by the fact that you even included the CDI games in your list of games to play. I know that they've got a certain charm in terms of just how unique they were. I certainly had a good laugh by just watching YouTube videos of the cutscenes for some of those games. But that is neat. Oh, come on. Every time is that huge ball just keeps throwing me off here. Okay, safe. At least I'm safe inside my mind. Okay, solid. Let's see. Oh yeah, the cutscenes are hilarious. Yeah, and I think there was a time when I read something to the effect of it was drawn by like in a traditional Russian animation form. And of course I've never actually seen Russian animation. I can only imagine, but it was definitely very different than anything that I had seen before. So yeah, it definitely got its charm, and I think there was like a game that was released recently that used that art style. I think it was called like The Legend of RZ or something like that. I think a fellow streamer, Space Robot Arm, played it. I don't think he streamed it. I think he just played it. He told me about it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, maybe I feel like I should take a look at that, or at least watch a gameplay video or something. It seems like it would be quite the adventure. But it is short. Yeah, maybe the idea there is to just be short and sweet, as they say. Okay, this room looks dangerous. Oh, of course. Of course. Okay, RZ, the Jewel of Faramore was the name. And yeah, it keeps the same humor and animation. Yeah, I would probably like to, at the very least, someday try one of the CDI games. And then maybe like draw a comparison from there. Like, I feel like at this point I've seen so many hours of folks just like ragging on the game on just YouTube videos and things like that. I feel like I should test it at some point and maybe then play the RZ game. But it sounds like a good time. The kitty. I need to Google CDI. Low-key never heard of it. You know what? I'm going to say that there is a fair chance that you will not necessarily edify yourself by knowing what the Philips CDI was. It is an interesting piece of history. Back from the 16-bit era, well, 16 to 32-bit era, I want to say. But nothing great came from it. I don't know that that's a hot take, but I don't know that anything truly great came from it. Ales, it is I, Sahasrahla. I can Oh, wait, how was the voice? I can talk to you telepathically when you touch these tiles. I have advice for you. The treasure hidden in this palace will help you defeat armored foes. Okay, well that is a solid piece of hint. Unfortunately, we've got ads in about a minute. Let me just quickly catch up on chat before we go on break here. Zelda CDI gets a lot of hate, but actually it's not that bad. Yeah, like I said, I am sure that it has its charm, and I feel like people definitely clung on to the idea of just like the silly cutscenes and things of that sort. And of course, the fact that it wasn't necessarily a straight-up Zelda game, right? There's always just that apprehension of folks not liking something that's different. And it gave us a lot of great memes back in the day, like lamp oil, ropes, bombs. My boy. You had a CDI growing up? Wow, didn't even know it. So you have a time capsule there, right there. That's where the Luigi lots of spaghetti comes from. You two are wonderful. Okay, but I gotta take that break because ads are starting soon. I'll be back in about 5 or 6 minutes, bio break, stretch break, and we will be back with more The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Where's my button? And there it is. welcome back to the Ales and Fails stream. I'm your host, Alewolf, otherwise known as Ales, gentleman streamer, the excellence of in execution, the no throne Cicerone. And we are here in a little corner of the stream we like to call the Retro Ratscaler, and we're playing A Link to the Past. Thank you so much for the welcome back, appreciate that, the kitty. By the way, I realized when I popped back in that I missed one of your earlier messages. I saw it, and I remember having some Sesame Street game for my younger brothers. So I guess you had a probably like a library for the CDI. I'm definitely surprised that you had it all along and you didn't realize. But that is what we call buried treasure, right? That is what we call buried treasure. Yeah, maybe you should what is it called? What am I trying to say here? Use it to stream some retro someday. If anybody's wondering, we are enjoying some delicious Kolsch-style beer, non-alcoholic beer from Best Day Brewing. It has the body of a pear, some slight pine resin on the nose, and a rather robust body for a Kolsch. As I like to say, to your health. Okay, so let's keep going over here. We're in the middle of the East Palace. One thing that I completely haven't really done so far is to kind of just look at the map over here. Yeah, and I think that little... If I recall my maps correctly, I think that this big thing is supposed to be the big treasure chest, but it could also just be something completely else that's random. Let's go ahead and actually check things out. Basic block puzzle. And I think that's just an exit as opposed to an entrance. I think we came from this side. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't think we've been here. Oh, and there's the big treasure chest, yes. I will have the big salad, as they say. Speaking of big salads, today I had delicious, I want to say avocado toast salad. It's just one of these Target salad kits where you kind of just make it, you pull it out of the bag and then you make it. Obviously had a lot of avocado, which is always a winning strategy. Hold on, I have to do this. It's locked. If you had the big key, you might be able to open it. So it had lots of avocado. And then it had like these little like bread rounds. And kind of just gave it some crunch. And that was nice. I thought it was good. Lots of lettuce and kale and this and that. I feel like we need to go through these bottles. Maybe we can do that a bit later. I know that we've been to this particular corner of the room. Sure, what are you doing? Are you being... crazy boy. Oh no. The sword, it does nothing. Okay, does the... I can't imagine. No, it doesn't. Of course, why would a boomerang do something to a bubble? I think it does so in Link's Awakening, though, if I recall. Actually, Link's Awakening was probably one of my favorite Zeldas, but it also had the most OP boomerang in the sense that, first of all, you got it. It wasn't straightforward to how you got it, but then it was also just this ability to destroy a number of enemies. Just the ability to destroy a number of enemies that the sword or any of your other weapons couldn't destroy, like bubbles. I remember that. And that was always cool. Give her the one more time, and I go. Always a classy redeem. We do love Daft Punk. Okay, use this key over here. Well, we're actually back in this main room. So I think the only way to go forward here is to go through those bottles, those gigantic bottles. Let me look at my map one more time. Yeah, we have to make it to a second floor. I'm assuming that there's a basement somewhere around here. So let's try and find the opening to those bottles once more. Oh, come on. How do we... Maybe we'll have to destroy the enemies? Oh, it's the Switch. Nintendo Switch. Your parents help you set it up. Okay, so this is the entrance to those bottles. I'll eventually go there. Let me explore the rest of this room. I feel like there might be some corners that I haven't necessarily explored just yet. Run, 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 run. My kingdom for some hearts. I would sure love to go to the Kingdom of Hearts. Okay, let's go in through here. Ooh, some fairies. And actually, how do I open up my menu again? No, don't do that. Here we go. I forgot that I had bottles because I forgot. So let's try and catch these. Yes! Keep it in a bottle for safekeeping. Nice. Okay, so now we've got 2 fairies in a bottle. I wonder if that's the only thing that we can do down here. It's weird. I mean, I'll take it, but I thought that there was going to be like more to this area. At the very least, we get extra fairies, so there's that. Okay, so this in one way has tripled our heart containers, simply because every time we fall in battle, a fairy will actually revive us. So, pretty solid, I want to say. What if... Well, I don't think that that's gonna solve the puzzle, but let me take this other fellow out. Okay. I don't think anything else really opened. I think we're good. I think we're good and we're fine. Fine and good, as they say. And we've been down here. Okay. Ooh, is this It looks like a something. But I hesitate to... I doubt that bumping it is gonna do anything. And we've been to this room as well. I don't know that we ever went south on the room adjacent, so let's go in that direction. I think we have to defeat the skeletons before we can actually move. Oh, come on. They don't even materialize in the right location. And voila. Okay, but we've already been here. Right, so we actually want to go down. Okay, but actually I think we're in the second floor, which is a place we actually haven't been to in this particular room. Why must you do this to me? Riveting gameplay, folks. Okay. Nice. And there's the switch. Oh yeah, I think we've been down there. Huh. I think I'm at a loss here. Yeah, we've definitely been in this area, to this corridor. Press the switch over here. And we haven't been to either of the right doors here. It's kind of interesting how they designed the rooms in this game for castles and dungeons to have this level of top floor and bottom floor. Okay. Go down this way. And there's a treasure chest. Now, if we had a hook shot, we could just get it. We could just get it. No such luck today, though. Huh. Surprised that they even put it here. Maybe this is just a shortcut from the top room, right? Yeah, that makes the most sense. And as I like to say, well, actually, before that, we definitely have our drinks of water here. Even though this is a drinks-friendly stream, we highly advocate the consumption of water. Water, of course, is the element which brings life, helps you stay. What's the word that I generally use? Hydrated. Certainly helps you regulate your metabolics and stave off the deleterious effects of alcohol consumption. So kindly drink up. And delicious. That is high quality H2O. Okay, and just a bubble here. Hopefully, we just need to find a switch and move on. MoveOn.org. I'm just trying to see if there's like hearts or something like that. I'm gonna pay for it, aren't I? Okay, so there's the treasure chest that we saw from the other side. Ooh, you've got the map. Where do you wish to go? Use it to see your current position and the rest of the dungeon. Press the L button. Okay. So we can see that there's a whole other room here in the first floor that we haven't touched just yet. Then there's a top room over here as well. And I'm wondering where do we have a stairs? You know, I also think that kind of like a funny, charming thing about the particular maps here in A Link to the Past is they remind me a lot of like the graphics from like the Atari 2600. Yeah, it's just kind of like that high pixelated sort of thing. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a particular game, but of course, games from the Atari 2600 era had very generic names, I feel. Anyways, food for thought. Food for thought. Okay, so let's try and somehow find a way into this room. I feel like that is probably where we need to go next. And I believe we've also got a compass, if I recall correctly. And of course, there's the big chest. At some point, we gotta go back for it. So there's that top room that we need to access. Is there any way where we can actually... Definitely not from that side. Maybe we need to go back to the center room and cut through this. Maybe give it like a counterclockwise motion right there. Counterclockwise. The best clockwise. Okay. And I definitely think we need to actually go down, but how do we actually make it down there? Alright, I think we can just... Right, find the switch here, go down, and then drop. And then you drop the beat. Oh, wait a second, that doesn't actually... There's no door down here, that's a problem. Here's a problem, too many toasters. And there's no ledge or anything like that. Curious. I am curious as a George. Okay, let's go in through here. I feel like we've been downstairs before, but for the life of me, I can't remember like a straightforward path. Okay, who's first? Okay. And hopefully we find that switch sooner rather than later. Or maybe it's just defeat all the enemies. And here we go. Okay, so we made our way down, but I felt like I already went through this puzzle, right? I pushed and nothing happened. I am confused. Can I just pull it in front of me? Is that a thing? No, of course not. Such is the harshness of life. When in trouble, hit your enemies with a giant pot. Okay, so this should get us actually to the lower part. Yes, there you go. Okay, nice. And now we can make it to the other side from the cannonball room, right? I hope. There's a switch. And we gotta run. Oh, there it is. Whew, okay. Not bad. And we have definitely never been here, so we must be on the right path. I'm afraid of those bubbles. I'm afraid. What was it? I still remember that scene of Starship Troopers at the end. Small, short spoilers for Starship Troopers if you've never seen it. But at the end, they... actually, let me not even describe it very much here. But they got a giant alien, and then one person who I will not name says, "She's afraid," or "He's afraid." I don't know what pronoun they use, or they're afraid. And everyone rejoices, even though it's kind of just like a sad. Anyways, that's a satire of a film. If we go, you know what? Let me destroy this thing before it just gives chase. Nice. Oh. There's the switch. Yes. Just get it. Big key. Alright, Ails, I gotta get to bed. Hope you have a good rest of your stream. Hey, thank you so much for popping in, the kitty. I very much appreciate your company today. I hope we can catch up again soon, either in your or my stream. Have a great evening. Okay. Death is upon me. Just gotta stay away from the bubbles. So we have big key, but I want to get the chest. I want to get the big chest. Hopefully we can get some hearts before we actually do this whole thing. And if I am recalling correctly, if my spider senses are correct, I believe what we get in this dungeon is the bow and arrow. I don't know. Defeat this guy. These fellas. I'm honestly just looking for hearts. I can't stand the sound of the little heart beepy thing. Oh, this is lovely. Heart. As Mati once said, heart. Well, I'm surprised. Not a single one of them actually had hearts. That's I feel like that's definitely a developer choice. Okay, let's go back to the big chest and claim our reward. Try not to get myself destroyed before I actually reach it. Hey, Wolf's Kiss, you found the bow. Now you can shoot arrows, at least, until you run out. Oh, we've only got like 10 arrows. What? Wait, what is happening here? Oh my gosh. Now, was that an expertly set up trap, or was that an expertly set up trap? Wait, are these things invincible? What is even happening here? Oh my gosh. B, thank you so much for the raid. That is wild. Welcome everyone. Let me actually go to my what do you even call this? My intermission screen. Forgot to make a raid message. You know what? That's absolutely fine. You absolutely don't have to. Thank you so much everyone for popping in, and thank you so much for the raid. B, that is incredible. What were you playing? Thank you so much for popping in. Welcome Solitary Sand. You raid. Welcome Rainbow Flows, and welcome Shiny Evoni. Hello. Good to see you all. Let me just do a quick. Actually, before we do that, anyone who is watching from my community, I don't know why you wouldn't know this, but kindly give Eyes on B a follow, who is an excellent streamer, mostly those retros, has a beautiful frog pond that I enjoy to just see sometimes, and just an amazing individual overall. Thank you so much for popping in. And there it is. Last playing Wild Arms 2. I feel like I've caught a few of those streams in the past. You know, my only connection with Wild Arms is Wild Arms 3, which I did own and played a few hours back in the day on the PlayStation 2. And I never finished it, and I'm very sad about that. I do feel like I have to go and play that series again, because it is one of those classic RPG series where it's not a magic system per se, it's more about shooting and things of that sort, and it's also set in the Wild West, so it's kind of cool. Thank you. You're most welcome, B. And just a little bit about myself. My name is Ailes, rather Ailwolf. Most people call me Ailes. I'm generally not a PNG tuber, but I like to on late nights, simply because, thank you so much for the follows. Follows are anonymous, of course. You're more than welcome to chat, say hello, or simply lurk. The other cool thing about me, it's not really cool about me, but I do have a corgi. His name is Churro, and he is very, very sleepy. He's right there. He's right off camera. He's a corgi of 7 years, and he means the world to me. And he's my trusty partner here on stream. Most of the time, he just likes to eat treats and hang out. So feel free to enjoy his company right there. And then the other thing that is a bit silly is my shtick, as I like to say, is I do like to talk about ales here. And today we are enjoying a non-alcoholic Kolsch from Best Day Brewing, which is a half lager, half ale. Let me simply suggest it like that. So, Famine Ale, thank you so much for popping in. Let me go back to intermission for just a second. A few hours. Try a couple hundred. That does sound like a lot. Welcome, the almighty otaku god. I like the Wild West vibe. Yeah, there's definitely a good charm to it. It definitely sets itself apart from a lot of the fantasy RPGs from back in those days. Yeah, so Churro, unfortunately, like I said, he's an EP boy right now. It's probably a little past his bedtime, and not gonna lie, it's probably also past my bedtime for a Wednesday, but you know what? We're gonna press on for just a bit longer. Non-alcoholic. Yeah, I enjoy beers of all sorts, and I've come to enjoy non-alcoholic beers a lot more recently. I feel like sometimes I'm just looking for that flavor, and I praise the fact that we've got an alcohol industry where people are understanding that you don't need to be buzzed all the time. You can just enjoy the drink and be happy that way. But yeah, before I go back to the game, anybody that came with the raid, and of course B, if you need to raid and fade, I completely understand. Streaming is a tough challenge, to say the least. It requires lots of attention. Viewers, lurkers also, that have been sitting for a while. If you need to go, take a break, stand up, get some snacks, please do so. Your body will thank you. And if you so choose to hang out, I highly appreciate that, but you absolutely don't have to. Thank you so much for popping in. Let's go back to The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Me too. Yeah. So similar thoughts here. And once again, thank you very much for the follows. Again, feel free to introduce yourself. So I ended just because I am feeling pretty tired, so I'm happy to chill for a bit. Thank you so much, B. Here's hoping that when you do ultimately go rest, that you have a peaceful evening. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for sharing your community with us today. I hope people find this place stimulating. We just got the arrows in A Link to the Past. This is actually A Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance, played on the Switch. So nothing particularly special. This is not my first playthrough of A Link to the Past, but it is my first playthrough of the Game Boy Advance version. I've never actually played it on the Four Swords GBA. And so, of course, one of the things that you'll notice immediately is the fact that Link has young Link's voice from Ocarina of Time, which, your mileage may vary. I want to say your mileage may vary. Let's turn off these lamps. When we see some lamps turned off, we gotta just turn them on. Light them up, oh, light them up, oh. And let's see, this might have been one of the earliest games I played, like 30 some years ago. Oh, that's nifty. Would you believe that this was actually my third Zelda game? I first played The Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo. Then I played Link's Awakening. And then I want to say maybe like a couple years after that I played this game. So not the most conventional route, I want to say. But, we all have our paths. And welcome, Judy O9 B-Raid. I forgot. Welcome. Thank you so much for popping in with B's Raid. Happy to have you here. Very much appreciate your company this evening. We are playing A Link to the Past today. Oh yeah, I was supposed to actually get the lamp. The lamp, as they say. Nobody says it that way. And I keep forgetting the button to actually get my menu up. It's like the select button on this. So I don't know that actually is doing too much for us. At least in Link's Awakening, it was kind of the idea that if you turned on all of your lamps, that you would like solve a puzzle in a room, and the lamps would stay on. In this game, though, they kind of just like stay on for a bit and don't necessarily do much of anything or like change. Thank you for saying hello to one another. Super sleepy, so don't mind me just lurking. Yeah, please enjoy your lurk. Thank you so much for popping in. Glad to have you today. And let's go back to the... I want to defeat these Cyclops creatures. And of course, I am forgetting what the button is to actually fire. Pro gaming at its finest. Okay, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. By Jove. Thank goodness for the power of fairies. So I will say, the channel name is Ales and Fails, and you can be guaranteed of two things. Two things, folks. Ales. I will always talk about an ale, at least one. And fails. There are fails to be found every time you see me playing. I don't think this is worth it. Oh my gosh. Well, we found Chris Hoolihan's room. I forget what that person's name was. I don't think there's anything else here. Bless the fairies, I literally need 2 to 3 all the time for emergencies. Yeah, I generally don't leave home without like all the bottles full of fairies, but this is very early on in the game, and so I've only got 2 bottles, and I just ran out of fairies, so I probably need to find the location for them. I don't have a key right now, so I definitely can't proceed north, but there's fairies here, so let's do that. Yeah, and of course this is the game that started the mechanic where if you put fairies in a container, they would revive you, which is something that I've always used. No shame in that. Give me all the fairies, please. Keep it in a bottle. Collecting in my jar of hearts. Okay, try one more time. Get the deuce. And you caught a fairy. Yes, please keep it. For safety. Now, I think there was another room with a big key. I want to say not down here, but we actually need to go back to where we were. Which I believe is down this hallway. And then we kind of just go up. Yeah. Oh. Run! And yeah, the bubbles in this game are just cutthroat. Not as bad as the one in the original Legend of Zelda, of course. Those just had no stops. We'll always appreciate the fact that this is the one game where Link had pink hair. You gotta have pink hair. Too bad that they never went back to this idea. As far as I know, anyways. Maybe it's I don't actually remember if it's in Link Between Worlds. I'm not 100% sure on that. See, did they ever explain why he did? I feel like I've heard fan theories as to why he had pink hair in this game, but I don't know that Nintendo's ever suggested why. Oh my goodness, thank you very much for the follow. And of course, follows are anonymous. Feel free to introduce yourself, or forever hold your peace. That sounded a bit imperious. Okay, so yeah, there's exactly one door that requires a key there. I don't know that this game actually shows you where treasure chests are, but you know, we're gonna have to try and find something. Yeah, welcome to the ale pack, as I like to say. Okay, I know we've definitely been here before. They're gonna re-emerge. This is also the game that started the trend of Stalfos just like jumping around a lot, which I always thought it was like a funny pattern for like skeletons. Like I don't know, in Western culture, skeletons are not really associated with like jumping or anything like that, but in Zelda games, starting with this game, they definitely jumped a lot. Which at the very least, I thought it was kind of like a cookie character, cookie feature. Okay, so now we're at the top. Thank you for magics. Okay, don't need to go after that one. Okay, and that just opens that door. Honestly, this just gets us back to the central room right over here. How does that benefit us in any sort of way? Maybe I need to go back to that dark hallway. And you know, if I was a smart lad, I would simply use a walkthrough to get through this. I didn't actually show it, but I do own, maybe let me show it in front of the Ales cam over here, the original Legend of Zelda strategy guide from Nintendo Power. I don't know if you can really see that very well, but it's right there. So if I actually feel like I need like a hint or something like that, I can probably use it. I just, you know what, I feel like I could probably give this the old college try. I feel like I could just wing it, see how far I go. Memory doesn't necessarily, is not necessarily the greatest here. Okay, and this is where we drop. Don't really need to go there. Right, so the idea is to actually go to the bottom. But in order to do that... Right, we enter from the top. And then go down. Find the right pot. No, but that'll simply get us to the same exact level, so that's actually not the right path. Okay, I think we're gonna backtrack a bit. I feel like we were so close to the answer just a little while ago. And it was just because we found that room with that keyhole that we didn't proceed. This place again. And for this one, I think we actually need to defeat all the skeletons rather than finding the switch. Thank goodness for pottery. Thank goodness for the pottery barn, I suppose. Speaking of which, we're getting a new coffee table, because our previous one just broke. It just broke. We've had it since forever and it broke. And it's, ooh, yeah, we've been here. This is probably where right after we got the bow and arrow. Okay. Have we been up here? Wow! Uh-oh, go away, go away, go away. That was crazy. Okay. Now remember there was a bunch of coins here. Maybe there's a key here? I don't have any weapon against these bubbles, so I'm just gonna have to do my best at Metal Gear soliding and not get hit. No, there's definitely no keys here. Ouch. And thank goodness for fairies, of course. Let me see. Let's try and hit the other side of the room. See where that takes us. Oh, why is this thing right in front of us? What? Can I hit it with arrows from here? That's the question. Oh, I can't actually use my sub-weapon from here. Am I just gonna have to, like, ram through it? Yes, that is the answer. Yeah, we don't have a key. What are we... I'm at a point where I might just have to backtrack a whole lot. Let me defeat these enemies and see whether or not defeating them maybe makes a key drop. Because I don't think I've cleared all the enemies in this room before. Ooh, that was way too clever. The easiest of puzzles will generally confound old ales. Okay, you know what? Before we actually proceed, I kind of feel like maybe we need to get that fairy back. I don't know if there's any hope for us. Okay, froggies are fed. I need to head to bench. Hey, have a great rest of your night, B. Thank you once again so much for sharing your community. I'm glad that I was able to provide some chillness. And definitely catch you again soon. Have a great rest and yeah, thanks again. And here's the bees. The fairies, sorry. I've got bees in my head. Okay. You caught a fairy. Keep it in a bottle, close to my heart. And let's go. Ba-da-da-da. Okay, now we can just go. And you know what? There is a small chance now that I might actually beat this dungeon. Just a small chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. 5 arrows. Ow. Yes, heart. Let's go in here. Oh no, more of these fellas. But we are very close to the nightmare. Oh, or rather, the boss of this dungeon. I feel like I've always just called these creatures nightmares just simply because again, one of my formative Zelda experiences was Link's Awakening. So maybe for me it'll always be nightmares. And that's not what I meant to do. Let's go back. Alright, I need to actually switch to arrows. Arrowed. And try to do one by one. Yes. These fellas are kind of just creepy, I feel. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Alright. And I think we are prepared. There's a couple of switches here, but which one is the right one? Nice. Oh no, the worst kind of puzzle ever. Where are we supposed to get to? Oh, there's a switch right up there. Actually, there's 4 switches now that I see it. You know, we could like slowly learn all the patterns and make our way across, or we could just wing it. This is not the right switch. Oh, thank goodness. Ouch. There is hope here, folks. There is hope. Okay, nice. And then we want to hit this fella once he opens his eyes. Easy peasy. Alright, let's get going. Oh, more of these. I feel like once a dungeon just hangs its hat on an enemy type. That's all. That's all, folks. Yarg. Okay, do these fellas succumb to like the pottery? The pottery trick, of course. No, it doesn't. The pots, it does nothing. Okay, nice. Not too hard. At the very least, these give you time to like draw your quiver. Which is not what I can say for a lot of enemies. Oh, come on. The hit detection box. It works against me. Okay. Nice, nice. Let's see if we can collect any hearts. I know that we're very close to the boss. Like, hey, who runs this place? Oh my goodness, and thank you very much. Welcome to the Ale Pack. Follows are anonymous, of course, so feel free to identify yourself or forever hold your peace. And how close are we to the... Yeah, so actually it is in the next room. You know what? Maybe I don't need to create a save state here. I might regret this. I'm terrible at this kind of thing. But I'm gonna just go for it. Before that, of course, just enjoy one more taste of our delicious kolsch. As I like to say, all my love to long ago. Alright. Oh. And just make sure that you are out of range. And don't waste arrows like I am. See, at the beginning they're so numerous that it's not very difficult to miss them, right? But then, of course, as they start decreasing in number, it's a little bit... you definitely have to aim. It's like, hey, you're shooting a bow and arrow, why would you not assume aiming is required? McFly, those things don't work on water, unless you've got power. Oh, come on. I'm just trying not to... I'm almost not trying to win this battle. Hills, what are you doing? Okay, 2 down. Nice. They're definitely getting a bit faster. And there it goes. Oof. I wonder if I can just... No, that's not how that works. I think I have to anticipate where it's gonna land before I shoot. Oof. Totally. We've got 3 arrows left. How am I supposed to do this if I don't? I almost feel like 3 arrows is not gonna do the trick here. Ooh, yes! Wolf's Kiss. And we got pendant number 1. Beautiful. Could one say the Kokiri Emerald? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's kind of a fun idea, right? Okay. Let's keep going. You won the Pendant of Courage. Take it to Take it to Sahasrahla-la-la-la-la-la. Let's keep going. Okay. Very nice. Let's try and get to Sahasrahla before we wrap up with the stream today. How about that? I know that we're getting close to our Cinderella time here, but at the very least... Oh, come on! There is no reprieve. There is no justice. Okay. Now, where was I? Sahasrahla. And I believe he's in this little nook over here, if I'm not... Yeah, I think that's where we're going. So let's go in that direction. I think that's good. Okay. And if I could just... there we go. Yeah, I think I'm in the right direction. Yes, there he is. Please just jump. Sahasrahla. So, you got the Pendant of Courage. Then I shall tell you more of the legend. Generations ago, an order of knights protected the Hylian royalty. These knights of Hyrule were also guardians of the Pendant of Courage. It has been said that whenever disaster waylays the royal family, a hero shall emerge from the bloodline of the Knights of Hyrule. Unfortunately, most of them were destroyed in the great war against evil that took place when the Seven Sages created their seal, so it was thought that a hero would never again emerge. But lo, for some reason I was just about to say but LOL, but lo, I believe you are our hero, Ails. Find the remaining pendants and carry this with you. It is a treasure passed down by the families of the sages. I want you to have it. And there we go, the Pegasus boots. He gave you the Pegasus shoes. Now you can execute a devastating dash attack. Nice, nice, I love it. Love the footwear. Hold the R button for a short time. An item that shall aid you is hidden in the cave on the east side of Lake Hylia. Go find it right now. Now before I forget, let me go ahead and bomb this area right here that I failed to do so when I was first here. And that'll be the last thing we do. How about that? Deal? Deal. Ooh. No, don't do that. Another 50 and big money. You got some bombs. You can pick up and throw a bomb you placed. Press the R button. Okay, but you know what? Let's snooze ads for a minute. And let's go back to our intermission screen here, folks. I think this is where we call it. So yeah, that is it for tonight in terms of A Link to the Past and what we call the Retro Ratskeller. Thank you so much, everyone that decided to join us today, and certainly thank you to both of our raids by Ghost and me, and sharing your communities. Of course, every member of my community that decided to pop in today, very much appreciate you. Certainly very much appreciate your company as I go down these games terribly. I don't understand why you tolerate it, but for some reason you do, and that means the world to me. If you want to know when I'll be streaming, first of all, I will be streaming this Friday. And I will be streaming Banjo-Tooie as well as Monster Hunter Wilds. But if you want to know my full schedule, I do actually have it on my socials, which you are more than free to follow. I promise I don't try to post too many silly things. Sometimes I do. You know what? Viewer beware, as they say. The other thing, yeah, so I'll be streaming this Friday. Like I said, hopefully I see you there if you enjoy the Banjo-Tooie. And if not, I do stream on Wednesdays, and currently I am streaming The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, as you have just seen just now. So yeah, that is it for today. Let me go ahead and find a raid target, and let me see. Maybe today we raid fellow retro streamer Mandy, who is currently streaming. Ooh, Lost Odyssey. Okay. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's raid What's Her Face. Let me go ahead and set up that raid. Just a second. And say hello. If you are interested in posting a raid message, I've got one right there for viewers. And then I've got one right there for followers, which I tend to forget to copy every once in a while. Yeah, once again, thank you so much everyone for popping in tonight. Here's hoping that you have an amazing rest of your evening, if not an amazing rest of your weekend. You deserve it. Stimulate yourself, take care of yourself, relax, find something that stimulates the mind, the spirit, and the soul. And as I like to end these things, stay thirsty, Alpac. We will see you again